Hello, welcome to the Quakes Motel. My name's Conan. Little bit of a different video today. Audio companies, software, hardware, etc. are not going to like me for this, but stop buying gear. Stop buying gear that you don't need. Okay, so I was doing research for a video this morning, which I was planning to shoot today. And whilst I was doing it, I kept noticing multiple videos on YouTube. It's not a new thing. It's been going on for forever. Well, as long as YouTube's been going on, obviously. I've noticed comments in forums, questions in forums, questions on Facebook, paragraphs after paragraphs on forums, Facebook, Instagram, etc. All selling you the idea that if you buy this latest plugin or this particular piece of hardware, then you're going to be fire. Your beats are going to be fire. Your music's going to be fire. You're going to be the best. You're going to be able to sound exactly like this person. Your music is going to go up a level. It's going to take it that step further. I was bombarded with it. And I can't lie to you, over the years, I've fallen for it a million times. Now, this video is not, I suppose it is a bit of a rant, but it's more about food for thought. It's more about me saying to you, stop and think before you buy. I'm seeing these people get themselves into debt, etc. Again, I don't want to go too deeply into it. It's not, I'm not lecturing. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. Of course, buy things if you really need them. Of course, buy a plugin if you really, really want to buy it. Of course, buy a piece of hardware if you really, really want to buy it. But the point of this video, the point of this rant, if you like, is just to say, stop and think about it first. Spend a bit of time. Don't be impulsive and don't become obsessed with this idea that if you buy this particular sampler, drum machine, guitar, etc., plugin, oh my God, plugins. If you buy these plugins, you're going to sound just like this person. Your production is good. This is going to be the magic bullet. This is going to be the silver bullet that enables you to be a Grammy award-winning producer, a mixing engineer, and your beats are going to be fire. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, when I put it like that? When I wrap it up into a little, a pigeonhole it, or I wrap it up and say, this is the situation. If you buy this, you're going to be brilliant. You're going to sit there and go, oh, don't be ridiculous, Conan. That's just stupid. No one falls for that. But we do on a daily basis. I've done it. Let me tell you a story. Actually, I'll tell you a couple of stories. And they sound so ridiculous to me now. My dad was a photojournalist, and consequently I got really, really into photography from a very, very young age. Excuse me. And I was exposed to the great photographers from a very, very early age. As a kid, I knew about people like Irwit, Bresson, Man Ray, all these fine art photographers, war photographers, real heroes to me, these people were. They were my heroes when I was a kid. And I grew up wanting to be Henri Cartier-Bresson. I wanted to be able to take photographs like him. From a very early age, I convinced myself that if I owned a Leica M3 camera and a 50mm lens, I was going to be able to take photographs like Bresson. And it sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it? And you're all sitting there going, don't be ridiculous. It's the person behind the camera. It's who's behind the camera. And of course, consequently, in the early 2000s, when I'd saved up money, or when I was working and I had a lot of spare cash, I bought a Leica camera. It wasn't an M3, it was a M7. And I bought a 50mm Leica lens, and I thought, this is it. I've made it, I've landed. I'm going to be able to shoot photography. I'm going to be able to shoot amazing pictures. I'm going to be able to publish books of fine art photography that everyone's going to go, wow, this guy's just like Henri Cartier-Bresson. Again, it sounds ridiculous. Well, of course, my photographs didn't come out like Henri Cartier-Bresson because I'm not Henri Cartier-Bresson. Even if you gave me the exact camera that he shot some of his famous shots on, I'm still not going to take photographs like that. Now, you'll listen to that story and you'll think, well, yeah, Conan, that's ridiculous. Of course, you're not going to be able to take photographs like Henri Cartier-Bresson if you've got the same camera. Why don't people apply that to production and beat making and mixing? Why is it so easy for us to think that if we have an OG MPC, a legacy MPC with all the converters, and we're going to be able to sound just like Dilla? if we have an SP1200, we're going to be able to sound just like Pete Rock. If I have this particular sampler, I'm going to sound just like this person. And it's ridiculous when you actually stop and think about it. However, we do still fall into that trap. We do still think that plugins especially, if I buy this plugin, if I buy this emulation of a piece of hardware, I'm going to be able to sound exactly like this person. Or my mixes are going to step up the game because I've got this compressor now. I've got this Shadow Hills mastering compressor from Plugin Alliance. I've got this new plugin from Waves. It's going to take me up to the next level. And what you probably find out, I mean, look, maybe it does help you a little bit. And maybe you have thought it through. And maybe you're not trying to sound like somebody else. But it's not the plugins, it's not the software, it's not the hardware that maketh the man. And that's a metaphor rather than me saying just men mix, etc. before the people start getting on my case about it. Anyway, that aside, it's not what you own, it's not the equipment, it's not your plugins, etc. It's you. You're the one that makes it. You're the one that makes the music. You're the one that's going to sound like you sound because you want to sound that way. So I'm not saying don't go out and buy equipment, and I'm not saying don't buy plugins. What I'm trying to say is think it through. Don't buy equipment and plugins because you think that that's going to be this is what I need. Oh, I bought that and I didn't quite make it. But if I get this, that's going to be the one. That's it. That's going to push me over the edge. I'm going to be able to do it. Grammys, the top Mercedes Benz, G Series Mercedes. I'm going to be driving up and down. I'm going to be the man. You're not. You're going to be the same person you were before you bought it. Nothing's going to change. You might learn some new stuff. You might learn that, oh, perhaps I shouldn't have bought that. You might learn that, oh, I've got myself in debt because I bought an MPC-X that I didn't need because I already had another sampler or whatever. Like I said, I'm not having a dig at particular companies and I'm not having a dig at people who do buy equipment. I'm just offering the advice, the guidance from my own experience. Don't just buy gear because you think it's going to make you sound like a particular person or it's going to make you better at what you do. On my beta testing machine, I've got a couple of rigs in my studio, in my setup, and I beta test for some big plugin companies. I'm not allowed to say who they are because of non-disclosure, but on my beta testing rig, I have probably got, and I'm not, this isn't a boast, I've probably got about 4,000 plugins. One, because I can't bother to take off the ones that I don't use, and two, because I just pile on the plugins there and beta test them. But out of those 4,000 plugins, I probably use on a daily basis, because I do a lot of mixing and mastering. I probably use 20, 25 maximum. I could probably do my job with 10. And those 10, let's say 10, those 10 plugins or pieces of equipment, I focus on them. I want to become a black belt. I want to become a black belt on the 1176. I want to become a black belt on the SSL channel strip. I don't want to be a white belt on 4,000 plugins. I want to be a black belt on 10 plugins. You've heard me say this before if you watch my videos. And I guess the point I'm trying to get across is, the other thing is, you don't need all these plugins. You really don't. It's better, in my opinion, to get good on a particular bunch of plugins, find the ones you really, really love. I mean, look, I do dip into those 4,000 plugins sometimes. Sometimes I need a specialist plugin. I need a particular emulation of a particular chorus pedal, or I need a particular emulation of a tube compressor, but emulation, obviously, not the actual thing. So I'll dig that up and I'll use it. And there are plugins that I go to for that purpose out of those 4,000 or whatever plugins that I have. But like I said, I do have particular ones which I stick to and I use on a daily basis. And they do change over time. I used to use the Waves L2 limiter virtually every single day. That's now moved on to a different limiter. And I've used various limiters over the years as a mastering engineer. But I do still go back to the Waves L2 sometimes because I know it so well. I know if I'm mastering a particular track and I need a particular sound, because I became a black belt in that, I know what it does and I know that I need that plugin for that situation. What I don't do, or what I try not to do, because look, I'm human, everyone does it, is think to myself, I saw a famous mixing engineer famous mastering engineer, using this plugin the other day. Luca Petalici, for instance, fantastic. I absolutely love him. Great guy, brilliant engineer. And I've fallen into the trap a few times of, oh, he's got this plugin. If I get this plugin, I'm probably going to be as good as he is. And it's absolutely ridiculous, the idea of it. But I fell into that trap and I did it. And I bought this plugin. And I didn't sound like Luca. Well, of course I didn't. So, bit of a rant. And I hope it hits home with a few people. And I hope some people laugh at this as well. And do you know what? Dislike the video if you don't agree with me. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You get to a certain age in your life. I'm 52 now. Where you don't give a shit whether people like you or not. Or you don't care. You've earned the right to say your opinion. And that's just what it is. It's my opinion. And I don't mind if people disagree with it. But I hope that this hits home with some people. And I hope some of you are laughing to yourself and going, yeah, I've done that before. Just finish up. I said I was going to tell a couple of stories. Quick story. When I first started playing the guitar, I didn't get to the guitar till I was quite late, in my early 30s, because my dad had spent his entire life trying to get me to play the guitar. So I rebelled and I wanted to be a drummer. But I finally started playing the guitar. And I convinced myself, like, who can I be like? I want to be the best of the best. And for me at that time, I was brought up on the Cream, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, that kind of stuff. And I loved Eric Clapton's early stuff. So I decided that I wanted to be as good at playing the guitar as Eric Clapton. How am I going to do that? Well, I need to practice a lot. So I practiced a lot. But what I really need is a Gibson Les Paul, particular early 60s version. And I need a Marshall Bluesbreaker amp. Because if I have that, I'm going to sound exactly like Eric Clapton. I'm going to be as good as Eric Clapton. Thank you for watching. This is the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.